My name is Leonardo Shook, and I am the Information Collector. Today I'm coming to you from Biltmore Village in Asheville, North Carolina. Now last week I came to you from the Folk Art Center, and the reason I'm here is because the Folk Art Center is run by the Craft Guild of the Southern Highlands. This is their shop in Biltmore Village. Now obviously you should visit the one on the Parkway. This is a great place to visit also, and very historic. Several months ago, I predicted that many of the policies of the then incoming Biden administration would align closely with the policies of the previous administration. And recently we've seen this come true, especially in Afghanistan, with the United States administration announcing a withdrawal from Afghanistan. Well, last Wednesday, the Norwegian Foreign Ministry announced that Norway, too, will withdraw its personnel from Afghanistan. The reason I mention this is not just because of geopolitics. The forces that will be withdrawn by May the 1st consist of 95 personnel, a medical unit, and a special forces unit, which is interesting for global military watchers. Norway has had special forces in Afghanistan. Last week, I opened the broadcast with a statement of condolences to the royal family over the passing of Prince Philip. This week, last Thursday, the British Army issued a press release discussing the involvement of certain Scottish infantry units in support of the funeral of Prince Philip, particularly units from the 4th Battalion Royal Regiment of Scotland, the Highlanders. Pipe Major Color Sergeant Grant will be in attendance. They considered this to be particularly fitting, considering that Prince Philip was educated at Gordonstown in the regiment's area. In the press release, one soldier spoke fondly of the prince reviewing the unit. Apparently, Prince Philip was only supposed to speak to certain people, but he ended up talking to everyone. And one soldier was particularly touched. He came from apparently a small town, and Prince Philip not only knew where it was, but he knew the nickname that the locals referred to it by. And this is one reason that so many of the British love their royalty, because the royalty realizes that their connection with the people is their strength. And this is why the British still have a monarch, and why they will, while the monarchy realizes the need for that connection. Last Wednesday, Italian aerospace manufacturer Leonardo announced NATO had selected its airborne software-defined radio for their E3 AWACS aircraft. This is the S-Wave Airborne SRT 800 radio, which is manufactured by Leonardo and was chosen by Boeing as they upgrade the E3s in their final upgrade till 2035. The significant thing about this software-defined radio is that it can be upgraded without a hardware upgrade. So it consolidates a lot of other units into this, from satellite radios to even cryptography. So basically, instead of taking the whole radio out, they just upgrade the software. The E3s have been in service for a long time, and their NATO wants to keep them flying for another 14 years, and these radios will go a long way into making that happen. Last Tuesday, in a press release, the South African government announced steps taken toward a green hydrogen economy. Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition, Ibrahim Patel, spoke at the second annual Renewable Hydrogen and Green Power Fuels webinar with about 2,000 participants. The event was co-hosted by the British High Commission for South Africa. He discussed the manufacture of fuel cells in KwaZulu-Natal area. He mentioned the South Africa's natural reserves of platinum group metals, which are used as catalysts. There is a proposed fuel cell hub at the Gauteng Industrial Development Zone, which is actually near some platinum group metal refineries and some other supporting industries. Investments into the manufacturing that he mentioned in KwaZulu-Natal will potentially produce 1,500 fuel cells a year. Now, this is particularly interesting considering South Africa already has significant experience in alternative fuels. During apartheid, South Africa was embargoed from much of the petroleum that the rest of the world used. There are only 2 times in history that people have manufactured fuel from carbon dioxide. Once was during the Second World War in Germany, and the second time was in South Africa during apartheid. So, as new materials science comes online, allowing these to be more economic in scope, and as there's a push towards sustainability that will bear a little extra economic burden, South Africa is in the perfect spot to go where we haven't been before. There are many well-known military traditions on Earth. The British Guards units, the Beefeaters, American Special Forces, Russian Special Forces, Israeli military units, Gurkhas. But others are less well known, one being the military of Fiji. Fiji has a proud military tradition, and much of the Fijian military experience from the past half century has come while wearing the blue helmet of the United Nations. Last Friday, in a press release, the Red Cross announced a one-day workshop held in Suva, Fiji, to train 20 Fiji Corrections Service officers to be deployed with the UN mission in South Sudan. The workshop included a briefing on the country, updates on the legal situation there. Different countries have different laws, and a briefing on not only the International Red Cross work there, but also International Red Cross work there concerning the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, Fiji has had forces deployed in South Sudan since 2010. And last month, in fact, the International Committee for the Red Cross held a similar briefing for 18 Fijian police officers to be deployed to South Sudan. Last Tuesday, USAID announced $100,000 to be provided to help the victims of the La Soufriere volcano on St. Vincent. 19,000 people have been evacuated from this tragedy. They also mentioned the support they have already provided and continue to provide to the University of West Indies Seismic Research Center. And we continue to pray and extend our best wishes to the victims of this natural disaster.